Greater Works by Lillian de Waters, 1945, Chapter 4, Renunciation. Quote, Thou shalt love the Lord thy God with all thy heart, and with all thy soul, and with all thy might. Deuteronomy 6:5. He who loves truly, divinely, all-absorbingly, hastens to follow every single gleam of light, to leave all and follow the one. Such love does not consider a more suitable time to break away from one's present bondage or from ties which bind him, for things to reshape themselves so that he can better formulate how his supply will be forthcoming and his friendships remain unbroken. The ready, willing heart does not measure and weigh, consider and tabulate. He does not linger a single moment to consider the price, so willing is he to pay the uttermost farthing at once. Is not this the reality that he has been waiting and longing for, lo, these many years? His joy knows no bounds as he opens his heart fully and completely to admit the divine light, unconditionally and without reservation. Those who need time to weigh just what they will be required to give up and just what they will receive in return find the way not an easy one. To part with personal leader or teacher may perhaps be very sorrowfully deliberated by those who have considered him or her to have been the world's last revelator. When God asks for a humble, contrite heart, it may seem to some as though they were obliged to give up their very life, for they have great possessions in personalities and personal ways. When truly faced, God only asks that we let Him be our very self, that we become nothing of ourselves, and that all others become nothing of themselves to us, so that He, the living God, may fill our hearts completely with Himself and ever be our all in all. How much longer shall one allow personality to be the veil separating him from God? Quote, He that shall come will come and will not tarry. Hebrew 10:37. Let your heart therefore be perfect with the Lord our God. 1 Kings 8:61. They who are strong in the Lord find the way easy and light and very bright, even as He promised. My yoke is easy and my burden is light. Matthew 11:30. The Lord's self cometh quickly, and His reward is with Him. Our vision continually expands. No sooner do we desire a thing than it is before us, because we are now living in His kingdom, which is spiritual existence. We are His, and He is ours. We are He, and He is all there is of us. He is indeed our beloved self. The taking of the name of the One brings us a joy and glory all transcendent, unspeakable beyond words to tell. Sacred writings of the East are voluminous with such passages as the following. Quote, Just as in springtime there comes the trees an increase of beauty, and other qualities. So to the seer of the real self, who is contented in the enjoyment of the bliss of the self, there surely comes an increase of light, power, and intelligence. The ego mind and its creation being emptied out, the self alone remains, shining without hindrance. As a small animal cannot raise its head when the ocean overflows, so this little animal cannot raise its head in the state of self-illumination. When the real self is realized as the one reality, there remains only the real self, which is pure consciousness. On the other hand, while the ego sense survives, the world appearance is inescapable. Quote, truth does not concern itself with miracles and demonstrations. As the light is revealed to us, we love to abide in it. Darkness or imperfection cannot remain. He that imagines the least difference between himself and the truth itself cannot be free from fear or limitation. Only so long as there is an identification of oneself with the intellect or ego is there an appearance of conditioned existence. The little self or personal intellect is only apparent so long as one has not perceived the great self, the eternal real self, and through devotion accepted this transcendental real self alone. Quote, all suffering is due to ignorance of the real self. He that loves the truth and subdues his whole being to the love of truth shall find it. Perfect love of truth means a perfect readiness to renounce whatever shall be found to be untrue. One must renounce the love he bears to his present impure beliefs, so that the truth may reign supreme in his heart when he has found it. Quote, heart, love, spirit, mind are all names of one and the same thing, the self. Those who want to realize for themselves the reality of the real must turn from the world and seek the truth within the heart. Then they will experience the concrete presence of the self. When the real self is sought and found, it will be found that it was never bound, but is forever perfect and free. He alone shall find this self who is powerfully attracted to him. To him, the self reveals himself as he really is. Upanishadic lore. Identified with the one mind, we behold the one presence to be the whole of us and the whole of everyone, even as the sun is its entire light. If one could ask of the light of day, "What are you?" what would it answer? It would not reply, "I am light," but would answer truly, "I am sun." So it is with us. When we are asked, "Who are you?" we do not say, "I am myself," but answer truly, "I am he, I am the self, I am the one." Quote, The self is free from evil, old age, death and grief, even hunger and thirst. With true desires, true volitions, the self is that which should be sought after. He who has found the self and realized it loves the self, delights in the self, revels in the self, rejoices in the self. To recognize and stay as the reality which is eternally secure is true being. The Upanishads. Beloved, seek the divine of you alone, the presence which is the whole of you, that which cannot be sick, which cannot fear, that which is your true and only being, God. This is our pinnacle of glory, beyond which there is nothing to attain. In the realization of oneness, duality can no longer be found. Joy and gladness are ours, and sorrow and sighing shall flee away. We shall come effortlessly, spontaneously, gloriously into spiritual light, spiritual peace, spiritual freedom, spiritual effulgence, spiritual existence itself.